Hey YouTube! Hi Spotify, it's Cal coming to you today with another video on the manipulation tactics or in the manipulation tactics series. And today we're going to talk about withdrawal. This one is so common. And there's a lot of, I feel like, excusing bad behavior in the name of avoidant attachment disorder and things like that. So we're going to talk today about what is the difference between withdrawal and someone just needing to take space, right? Because one is healthy and fine and just needing a little bit of, time apart from each other or whatever. And one is abandoning in the relationship, okay? So basically, first, let's define withdrawal. I define withdrawal as if you're in a relationship with someone and all of a sudden they pull back, whether it's time, energy, attention. But typically, we see this in no contact, pulling back the amount of contact. So you go from maybe communicating a lot to like less and less, and basically you can sense the energy shift where someone is pulling back and giving less and less attention to whatever's going on, right? So that is withdrawal. So let's start with like the first difference between withdrawal and needing to take space, okay? So one is communication. If there has been communication in the relationship where one person says, hey, like I'm having a weird day, I just want to kind of chill by myself tonight, and, or even if you live together, you're like, let's just go like do our, like watch our favorite shows in our separate rooms or, in like different rooms or whatever. That is where you could say, I need some time to myself, I need introvert time, but I'll be back. It has nothing to do with you, right? That is a form of taking space. That is not withdrawing, because, and we'll talk about the effects of actual withdrawal on the relationship, but taking space, is basically, you're still feeling secure in the relationship. You feel safe. You don't feel like there's been any chasm. It's just normal thing like, hey, we just, I don't know if you've ever been on a trip with like a friend of yours and you guys decide, hey, let's do like, let's meet back up later today or whatever, but it doesn't feel weird. That's taking space, okay? And again, space is a normal thing for you to pull back and focus on yourself and, hey, I'm gonna go to the gym and like I'm gonna whatever by myself, and then I'll come back and we'll be fine, right? That's taking space. I think a lot of times, men and women maybe, but I've seen it a lot in women in my practice. Sorry, my tank top's being weird. A lot of times women and men excuse withdrawal in the name of accepting taking space. So they're getting those confused. And one, withdrawal is just disrespectful, right? Like taking space is not disrespectful, whereas withdrawal is disrespectful. And I'm going to say, like, again, the secondary, difference between withdrawal and taking space is how secure you feel in that period of time. If someone has adequately taken space, then you don't feel anxious about it, which we're going to get into in a sec, but you feel still safe and secure in the relationship. If you is experiencing someone else's withdrawal, it can start to make you feel anxious, and we'll get into like other effects, but if you still feel secure and your partner's taking space, that's the difference, okay? Just withdrawal leaves you feeling not safe and secure. Taking space, you're fine. You don't have any anxiety. It's like we're all human. But so I would say the third difference between withdrawal and taking space is that withdrawal is abandonment. Emotional abandonment. It feels like emotional abandonment. The other person has essentially left the intimacy or pulled back the intimacy of the relationship. And you're sitting there wondering, like, what is going on, right? So I would say that those are the differences between withdrawal and taking space. Now, what are the effects of withdrawal? So taking space, the effect of it on you is you still feel fine. You're just like, this is normal and human. They'll be back. It's no big deal, right? Because they communicated to you, I'll be back. I'm just dealing with some stuff on my own. It has nothing to do with you, or, whatever. I'll be back. It has nothing to do with you. I'll see you in a few hours, or I'll be whatever. But, and also the taking space in a secure relationship does not happen all the time, right? There isn't like a pattern of consistently taking huge amounts of space. Because if that's the case, why are you even in the relationship in the first place, right? So, but withdrawal has negative effects because it is disrespectful. It has negative effects on the person experiencing it, okay? So the first one is it makes you question yourself. Like typically, any self-aware person, if someone pulls back, would go into their mind and go, did something happen? Was there, did I misperceive something? Did I not know or pick up on something? And so you kind of start, or is the relationship okay, right? And so again, the second effect is, the big effect of withdrawal is that it creates anxiety. You just bonded with someone, and then now they're pulling back their energy in a more extreme way, right? And so if that's the case, oh, my cat is right here. And if that's the case, it's going to increase your anxiety, okay? So, because again, you're going to feel like this relationship, I'm like on eggshells. Are they going to pull back again? And again, because of that abandoning feel, even if they come back, you're kind of just like, what just happened? Like, that was really weird, and I didn't like how I felt during that period of time, okay? So the third, I would say, effect, because, the first is makes you question yourself. Second is it increases anxiety in you. The third effect of withdrawal on someone is it can lower your self-esteem, okay? Because if you are the experiencer of it and it is disrespectful, that means it's not respecting and valuing who you are as a human being, right? Respecting and valuing who you are as a human being and considering you would be where someone says, hey, I'm feeling X and Y, and kind of wants to put you at ease before they disappear, And so that's a considerate relationship. But if a person just withdraws without, hi, baby, without, does everyone want to see my cat? Hold on one sec. Baby, here you go. Come here. I know you don't like to be held, but we're going to just say hi. This is Torty. Hi. Say hi, baby. Mwah. Okay. So basically, Torty girl does not like to be held, but she is super cuddly. So anyways, back to, okay, so the third effect is that it lowers your self-esteem because it's disrespectful, right? Anything that is disrespectful, if you allow it to continue, it is not esteeming you or respecting you as a human being, right? So it is, in a sense, if you continue to take it or continue to participate in a relationship that is disrespectful, it's going to lower your self-esteem, okay? So the last one is, the last effect of withdrawal is it gets you, if you have any kind of codependent tendencies at all, withdrawal behaviors can get you to focus on what's going on with that other person rather than what's going on with yourself, right? In a safe, secure relationship, you are both allowed to focus on yourself and grow and kind of how you're going to contribute to the rest of the world. Whereas if a person has withdrawn and you feel abandoned, a lot of times you can go into trying to analyze, oh, what's going on with them? Do they need space? Are they okay? And again, if once in a blue moon, this is not a big deal, but if it's a pattern of withdrawal, I will tell you right now, as a therapist for 20 years, it is going to have a negative effect on your self-esteem because it is disrespectful, okay? So you deserve better than someone just withdrawing or abandoning you in the relationship and not talking to you about it. An adult, by the time they're an adult, especially if they've been in any kind of relationship beforehand, should have learned to say, hey, this is what's going on with me. I'm going to take, just a couple hours, or I've had a bad day, I'm stressed, I don't feel like I'm off and I need some introvert time, or, you know what I mean? They're not going to be just abandoning you to where you're like, where the hell is, what the hell happened to my person? Where are they? What's going on? And are they okay? I mean, it really gets you sometimes can get you worried. And so again, if they're once in a blue moon, when there is a pattern of total respect and availability and presence, you wouldn't really worry about it, right? But you kind of just be like, what happened there? But if it's a pattern, any kind of pattern of withdrawal without communicating it to you is disrespectful, and you have to say, hey, I understand you may have needed space there. I don't know, but I deserve to be in a relationship where a person is consistently there for me. And if they need space, they're going to communicate that to me. That's the kind of relationship that I'm looking for. So you have to be able to say what you need and want. And if they say, well, this is just me, you know what I mean? Like, okay, then again, red flag. You may really want to reevaluate if you want to be in a relationship with that answers your concerns that way, right? But if they say, hey, I didn't realize I did that, and I was, I really had such and such and such and such on my mind, and like, I will try very hard to not like have that not happen again. And, like if it ever happens, like call me on it right away. And like, I really hope it doesn't, but I'll really try to work on it. That's a more healthy response, right? And I'm sorry I made you feel whatever, anxious or concerned or whatever. That's a healthier response. But if you just get basically, this is how I am and I don't see anything wrong with it, then bye. Because again, you can't do that maybe if you're in a marriage, and I understand it's harder that way. You just may want to go to therapy, and you may want to, but you definitely have to communicate it. What you don't want to do is sit there and take it or be gaslit that you're being needy if you want to spend time with your person or you don't want them to disappear on you. You do not want to be gaslit that somehow just up and emotionally abandoning the relationship or disappearing is okay, because it's not. And so I hope that, you can get some words, or, if this is a chronic pattern, address it, go to therapy if you need to, take some, get some boundaries and set some consequences for when that happens. Or you may have to leave the relationship if there's a consistent pattern of abandoning or withdrawing, and it's again, getting back to the other thing that we talked about before, if it's inconsistent and unreliable because the person's just withdrawing so much, you have to ask yourself, what am I really getting out of this if I don't have a partner who's present and consistent and reliable, right? But B, you just may want to consider the relationship, and if you're truly getting enough out of it, if a person cannot be considerate enough to include you in their process if they need space, right? So I hope this helped a little bit. And again, manipulation tactics, I've said this over and over again, they're not always conscious. They can be subconscious. And also, there definitely can be avoidant attachment involved in this. And so this is not to blame someone else. It is more just to, remind people out there that you need to, if someone is, withdrawing from your relationship, you don't want to focus on and excuse what's going on with them. You want to ask yourself, is this person consistently meeting my needs, right? Are they giving me what I need and want in a relationship emotionally? And so that's kind of part of why I'm doing this manipulation tactic series. It's not to label or judge anybody, because we all do dysfunctional things. We do. Like it or not, we all do. But it's more to ask yourself, are my needs getting met? And if not, you really want to evaluate if you're in the right relationship, right? Now, again, they're not always going to be met 24/7, but there should be a basic pattern of meeting each other's needs as partners and as equals, right? Okay, so, and a lot of people, I just wanted to kind of get into the difference between, what's the difference between withdrawal and taking space. And so again, one is like considerate and doesn't feel abandoning and is communicative. And the other one just leaves you feeling discarded, not thought of, not valued, disrespected. So hopefully that helps a little bit, and I will continue in this series in the future, and I hope that you are doing well tonight, and I'll see you next time.